Hello, my name is Anita Nchat Kevin, and I am the founder of Amina Dyslexia Center. We work with children who have learning difficulties, especially dyslexia. However, we work with children who also have autism, Asperger's syndrome, dyspraxia, and dyscalculia. So Amina Dyslexia Center was founded to enable children who have learning difficulties to be supported in schools, and also to train teachers so that they will be able to support these challenges that children face, and also equip teachers to provide classroom intervention and remediation for these challenges. It came about because I had a personal experience with dyslexia. My cousin, who, when we were younger, displayed a lot of dyslexia signs. And when I started teaching, I've realized that most of the children in my class showed these signs, and there was nothing to be done. Nothing was done, no provision for them in the school curricula. So I started to ask questions and to find out why the children that I teach have similar challenges with my cousin, who unfortunately had passed away at that time. And to honor her, we decided to name the center Amina Dyslexia Center. So we started to look at what was going on, why things like that were happening. And that was when I came across the word dyslexia, and also how this Amina Dyslexia Center started. So this shows the level of awareness about dyslexia in my community. There is very, very low awareness about dyslexia. A lot of people have no idea why these children have these challenges. So basically, we are creating awareness about dyslexia. After we create awareness about dyslexia, people come up with questions such as, now that I know what the problem is with my child, I want to provide a solution to the problem. So because of that, we started the center, which provides dyslexia remediation and also assessment for the condition, especially to people in northern Nigeria. We have about 30 million out of school children. That is a huge number. And some of these conditions are not because the parents cannot afford school fees, which people would like to think, or because the teachers are not there, which also is another perspective that people like to say, that the teachers are not available, or the teachers are not doing enough. We found out that some of these conditions are because of dyslexia, because these children are finding it difficult to cope in the classroom. They tend to give up easily, and the classroom becomes a terror zone for them. So they don't want to go to school. And because of that, the children are trying to understand their condition. The parents are trying to understand why the child is behaving this way. And then the teachers are also trying to understand why this is happening. So there's always a clash of whys and all of that. And then a lot of it results in the children dropping out of school, some with the consent of the parents, others without the consent of the parents. And this is becoming a huge problem. And how much more in our place that we do not have access to a lot of data. So we are beginning to ask questions. We are beginning to give out assessment to learning institutions and juvenile institutions to ask, how do these children behave, to see if we could support or relate this condition to why there is challenges in behavior. So far we have seen that, yes, the theory about dyslexia and behavioral challenges are beginning to show forth. So that is why we're giving in our energy, we're giving in our time to save these children who really do not want to, they have no business committing crime, to save them from resolving to crime or resolving to bad behavior, which leads to crime. And yes, that's some of the things that we do in Amina Dyslexia Center. But particularly, we're also working to discredit the myth that dyslexia is bonded to witchcraft, or it is spellbound. That means a lot of parents would think, because my child, and it's always, you know, the condition always manifests in just one person in a family. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times it could just manifest in one person in a family. So parents tend to think that maybe someone is after them in witchcraft. So they try to associate these things with witchcraft. And you will find out that there are situations where parents resolve to taking their children to spiritual, for spiritual help, so to say, for all this spiritual counseling and all of that. Meanwhile, the situation is actually scientifically proven and it has scientific solutions. So going all length to go and put the children through some spiritual rituals, which sometimes results into things like beating the child, like serious abuse on the child, and maybe hitting them on their fingers, just so in some situations to take away the laziness, because some parents and some teachers even say that it is laziness because of the lack of awareness about dyslexia. You know, it is funny that people when you do not have a name for a condition and you cannot explain it, then you begin to give it some spiritual underlinings. So certain people would say, maybe the child has taken on some demonic spirits. That is why they are the only ones in the family that are unintelligent, or they are the only ones in the family that cannot read. And you know, with dyslexia, the person is smart. With ADHD too, you'll find out that the person is smart. But when it comes to academics, when it comes to reading especially, that's when you find the manifestation that the person cannot keep focus, the child cannot read and all of that. So parents tend to misinterpret it, even teachers, because there was a teacher that after we did a seminar in their school, we told them how dyslexia manifests and all of that. She said she had a confession. I was like, okay, tell me. And then she said she had a situation where there's this child in her class, which the child showed all the symptoms of the condition as we had explained in that seminar. So, but she could not explain why the child is behaving in this manner. So she told the parents that they can resolve to giving the child a combination of garlic and honey, that it will help the child to, you know, become academically smart, in the sense that the child will be able to read after taking this combination. I was it was a bit of a thing for me at that time, and so I told her point blank that it's really good for the child's health actually to take garlic and honey. It's good, they are immune boosters, but they wouldn't do anything with the reading. However, there are scientifically proven ways that for you to be able to resolve this confusion that you have given the parents, you should introduce me to the parents so that I can explain it to them, and then we can take in the child to our center and we can resolve the child's condition. And that was what happened. We had to reach out to the parents, and then they understood and they were willing to work with us. So the child is now able to read, and the child is in senior secondary at the moment, and he's fine, he's doing just well. So the point that dyslexia is associated with bad behavior, because the children most of the times need somebody to understand them, because there's a need for understanding, and because they cannot get that understanding, which also is difficult for the parents too are struggling to understand why this behavior towards academics, why the lack of focus, why the lack of ability to read. They're also trying to understand that. And the child is also trying, because the child knows that they're trying their best, they're putting in their all to learn this thing, so that at least they can please their parents and be like their siblings, or at least they can be loved by their parents, because they see that this thing is becoming the bridge between them and their parents. But because of that, because of the lack of understanding, the child might resolve to revolting against the parents, which might result to bad behaviors, and you know, it becomes habitual with time, and it could cause a lot of result into going into crimes and all of that. Then also there's the issue of attaching dyslexia and other neurodiverse conditions to spiritual attack, which a lot of people would go into herbal treatments and which might harm the child, cause liver problems and all of that. So we are very, right now we are trying to create as much awareness about neurodiversity as possible. We're working on a lot of the spectrum, but the center is called Amina Dyslexia Center. Basically for the reason that the first person at Amina Dyslexia Center showed signs of dyslexia. So this is what we do.